to explain the very basic machine learning with Streamlit. So I would like to discuss what is Streamlit and then how we can use Streamlit with Django and how we can use Streamlit with the external sources. Sorry, what do you mean by the... Okay, so this is the three contents that we are going to learn. Streamlit, what is Streamlit? Streamlit is one framework, and it mentioned that it is a faster way to build and share data apps. It mentioned that the Streamlit turns data script into shareable web apps in minutes, and all pure in Python. And you don't need to have front-end experience. So this is very convenient. And Django can work together with Streamlit. So what I want to mention is when you use Django, it is the basic of Python and it is the web apps for Python. And whenever you want to combine with other libraries, it is possible as long as it is in the same framework with Python. Because Streamlit is based on Python and Django is based on Python, so we can combine it. So for the first, it is better to install the Streamlit. So in my case, my PyCharm, there are two ways. Okay, you can check your PyCharm in the setting environment. If you go to the setting, you can go to the project and you can go to the Python interpreter and please check where is your Python file. In this case, my Python file is located in the Anaconda. So there can be two ways to update the Streamlit. You can use this interpreter part to update your Streamlit, or you can use the Anaconda prompt. If you use the Anaconda prompt, it means you will open this prompt. So this is the Anaconda prompt, and you can install it here. Or yeah, if you feel more convenient with the PyCharm, you can go to the terminal and you can install Streamlit here. Okay, so it's up to you. So for me, I will install in this Anaconda prompt. pip install Streamlit. So the Streamlit, actually, it requires a lot of other codes. So when you install Streamlit, it will automatically install other libraries. And it will be in your Anaconda. After you have your Streamlit, let's create a new Django project. And I would like to make it as dataviz02. Okay. I will make a new project. Hopefully you still remember to make a project. So you need to make a Django project. And let's make the file name as dataviz02. Okay. Yeah, I'm using this one. You can use different name, but I recommend you to use this name. There is a reason why I use this name. Okay. So I will create this Okay, let me create in a new window. Okay. Now I have one new project. Okay. In this chapter, I would like to create a new Python file, but this Python file will be created in the parent folder. Because Streamlit is a framework, we do not need to have much effort to make view or URLs. Okay. So we can just reuse the existing framework, which is the web apps in Streamlit. So I'm going to create later two new Python file, quick 1 and quick 2 Python file. And we are going to try how we can run Streamlit from the external code. Okay, for the first file, let's make a quick 01.py. In this file, I would like to explain one of the data visualization using machine learning. This is the clustering with the k-means algorithm. And the data set can be retrieved from the cloud. So in this example, we will use data from GitHub. So I will make a new file using the data vis2. So in this parent folder, you can right click here. You can right click here and then you can create a new file. So I want to make a new Python file. Okay. I want to make a new Python file. So the Python file name is, let's say, just quick01. Okay, just the same with the example. I have the file name quick01 and it will be .py. Okay. And in this slide, there are page 1, page 2, page 3, and page 4. Okay. So please copy and paste this one. So the first will be the import function. Sorry, this PPT, it is in the e-class. Okay, let me continue. If you copy and paste this one, if you can find there is one error like this, I think it is because of the quote. Okay, you can see this double quote is different with the common string, so you should use this one. Okay, just change the double quote. I think there's one issue when I change the part. Okay. So in this case, yeah, the project name should be here. Okay. So because I'm using the data vis02, so this should be the project name. Yeah, I update this one. It should be like this code. So if the code is not in the string in the Python format, then it will be error. So after you have the page 1, you can go to the page 2. You can copy this code as well, and then put below your previous code. Okay. And then you can go to the page number 3, and then again copy. I will explain all these things later. And then you will have the next part, which is in the page number 4, and you can just copy and paste. Okay, so in overall, you will have like the line 1 until line 114. Each of the page actually it contains different kind of approaches. Okay, for example, in the first part, you can see it is about import function. So yeah, it imports the matplotlib, it imports the pandas, it imports some other kind of tools like Seaborn, and it uses Streamlit. And in this case, we are going to use the WSGI from the Python. So it connects to Python, but it will utilize the Streamlit. And we are going to use the cluster function from the sklearn, which use the k-means. And all the things will be in the Django, which is under the data visualization 02 settings. For the authenticate, I will explain it later. So the next, let me just explain from this code. Okay. If it is true, so whenever we can run this code, then let's set the theme. There are several functions. For example, this one, load data. So we can load the data from the internet. In this case, I'm using one. If you go to this section, this is the data. So when you upload your data to GitHub, then you can show it in the web like this one. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. The first column is age, and then income, and then debt, and then individual ID. So the individual ID is in this format, and we have age, income, and debt. That's about our data. And yeah, this data is about the election. Okay. So we are going to see the clusters between the age and the income. So if you join the data science class, we learn about the code to do the machine learning, especially one of them is the k-means. So we are going to use the k-means here, and the number of clusters is 2. So the attributes that we are going to use for this k-means is age and income. And in this case, we are going to plot with the scatter plot. And then we have some properties like this one. It is from the subplots from the matplotlib, and we just define what are the properties that we want to show. For example, we want to see the tick params, y-axis, x-axis, and so on. We will see later after we see the visualization. So those are the properties, and we are going to make the scatter plot based on this SNS. Okay? This SNS means the Seaborn. If you take a look on the import function, yeah, we use the Seaborn library to show the visualization. In this case, I would like to define the x equals to the attribute age, and then the y equals to the attribute income. And then I would like to show the labels after we do the k-means. And then the color palette will be the color line equals to the number of clusters. In this case, we are going to make a kind of centroid. Okay? We want to find where is the centroid. And then once we find the centroid, we want to make the annotation. In the case of the panel, there will be two panels. The first is the sidebar, and the other is the min. So what are they? So let's see. After you finish to copy all those 4 pages, for page 1, page 2, page 3, and page 4, let's try to run the script. So you can run the streamlit run quick01.py. So you can go to the terminal. So make sure that you have your file in the, make sure you have your file in this parent folder. Okay, once I copy and paste this streamlit run quick01.py, it mentioned to you about the welcome message. Welcome to Streamlit. And they want to update you with your email. So if you want to submit your email address, you can type your email address. If you do not want, you may leave the field blank. So I will just put the field blank. Okay, it works. That's good. So it's very simple. When you have the code, it shows what, in this case, it is the IP address in my computer, or you can use the local host, and there is a new port number, which is 8501. So this is the result. Recall this is the side panel. And recall this is the main panel. In the side panel, you can have option like display raw data. If you click this, so if it is unchecked, then you cannot see your data. If you click here, then you can see the data, and you can see all the data in terms of table. And this is the clustering result. Based on this part, we can see there are two clusters, cluster 1 and cluster 2. You can select. Now you have two clusters, so there are 2. If you select 3, then there will be 3 clusters. If you select 4, there will be 4 clusters. If you select 5, there will be 5 clusters, and so on. So the maximum is 10. And you can see all the centroids when you track the numbers of these clusters. Okay. Actually, there are some function here. Let's say you can do the setting. Okay. You want to change just into the dark, and then you can see this dark color and etc. Okay. You can change according to your requirement. So that's the quick01.py. It is just to show the machine learning result. And if you want to know more about the code, So in the main we have the streamlit, which is ST, and we want to write down the result of the k-means, and the k-means is from the data frame, and we want to see the number of clusters, which is 2. And what we are seeing in the main panel is this one: interactive k-means clustering, and then an example of streamlit introduction. So interactive k-means clustering and an example of streamlit introduction. So this is the main. And the result will be shown below of this title in the main. What about the sidebar? The sidebar, we are using the sidebar, or which is the left part. The first, we are going to check the checkbox. So you need to understand those things. Okay. This case, we are using the streamlit. So you can see the streamlit elements checkbox mixing. Then we have the display raw data, and then the value is true. So the original one, or the initial, is checked already. And then you will see the slider. The slider means, the slide that you can move on between 2 until 10. So there can be the title, select number of clusters. And there will be another things. You can do the sidebar.write, and it will show you, it is an example that you can extend with additional function. So the sidebar, when you press dot, then you will see many alternatives or the methods that you can use if you are using the sidebar. You can select box or select slider, or you can make table and etc. So those are the methods that you can use. So for this example, I just give you a quick example so you can have the sense if you want to use this one for your project. So as I mentioned to you, we are creating the scatter plot. The scatter plot is based on the age and income. And we are going to annotate the cluster centroid. The cluster centroid means here. We want to make one annotation, cluster number 2. This is another annotation, cluster number 1. So if you can enlarge it, then you will see, okay, this is cluster 1 and this is cluster number 2. And this is the age, and then this is the income. We are going to have the ID, and then this is the variable or the attributes that we are going to use, age and income. And this is font size and the color, and xy text equals to age plus 5, income plus 3. So here, actually, this is there is one like Centroid. Okay? So we put additional text here, and the location of the text is somehow in this area. Okay. And then we are going to make a bounding box with this information. If you want to know more about those information, what is it and how we can select this one, there are some documentation. So in this case, the box style is round, path 0, commit 3. Okay, so this is the rounding, is the rounded. And then the color, font color is white. No, not white. I think this is the front part, the color. It's white, and then this is the I think this is the color of the line, and then the line width, this is 2. So the thickness of the line, and it is in the center, and then center, and then you can see the result. So let's move on to the quick 02. In the quick 02, it is similar to quick 01, but in this second file, it contains a username to enter the Streamlit. So you need to have like the login function before you enter your data apps. So let's create the super user. I hope that you still remember how to create the super user. You can go to the terminal. Yeah, if you finish with this one, if you want to make a new session, let me make a new session. So you can see here, there are two locals. There are two locals. So the local 1 and local 2. The local one is the one that we are still running about our website, and the local 2 is the new one. If you want to stop it, then you can just close this one. So it means you terminate it, and you are running in the new local. So let's do the Python manage.py create super user. Okay, I think I need to do the migration. Let me use with this one. Is it possible? Create super user. Okay, so I need to migrate, make migration. And then I need to migrate. Okay, hopefully you'll still remember. We can do the things with make migration. Okay. And then we can create super user. So in making a create super user, if you want to use your own name for your computer, let's say in my computer, I will use IME. If I want to use this IME, I can leave it blank. Let's say, okay, I will use user, okay. I will use user, and then I will use this password. I will use user. And for email address, I can just type any email address. And the password. Okay, now it is transparent. You can see your password. Let me use half IME203. And if I have this one, next, you can go to the admin, and then, yeah, if you want to add more ID and password, you can add the relevant password. Okay. So if you run this, okay, if you run this app, you are using the link, this one. This is the original Django. We use the port number 8000. Okay. If you click this one, yeah, this is the first Django that we have. And if you go to admin, you can enter the administration part. Let's say if I use the user host IME203, then you will go to this site administration. You can have your other username from here. So you can go to users. Now you have one user. Actually, you can add more users. Let's say I have another user, IME, for example, and let be the password is the same, half IME203, half IME203. Okay. And then you can save. Yeah, actually, they also have other personal information that you can include, like the first name, last name, and the email address. Yeah, it's up to you whether you want to include those or not. So if you get back here, then you will see there are two information about the users. So I'm going to create a new file, quick02.py. The idea is the same with the previous one. So I also have the page 1 until page 4. Okay. So you can copy and paste and make a new file, quick02. Let me just finish in 1 minute. 02. So I will copy and paste. I will copy and paste the page number 3. And then I will copy and paste the page number 4. Okay. If I finish with this one, I can go to the terminal again. And then I will do the streamlit run quick02.py. And there will be username here. If I input username and have IME203, then I will enter this part. So there is one page before entering this line. Before entering this positioning, there is one page to check who are you before you are doing this machine learning stuff. Okay, I think I will finish because of the time. I will explain more tomorrow about this part.